All right. Well, hey, welcome back, all of our viewers out there and all of our supporters. We're here at episode 2 of a 3-part series with Matt Docchio, former 7th Special Forces Group operator, current wood craftsman, master craftsman, and a current author. Matt, what's going on, man? Welcome back.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Hey,
Awesome.
we appreciate having you, man. So, hey, let's unpack a little bit from the last episode, right? We kind of danced around some accountability stuff. We danced around some of that struggle that we run into when we don't have the right people around us. Basically, we became family when we were teammates, and as we start to lose that, or as we start to be taken away from that family, a lot of struggle comes with it. Now, we kind of ended with Green Berets out to pasture, but I don't think we're ready to really get to that yet, because you had mentioned some stuff in that first episode that I really think we need to unpack. And I want to get back to the part where you talked about losing your innocence. You talked about trying to get back to the Matt Docchio before he came in the military, and you'd mentioned your innocence. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. I think before I joined the military, I wasn't innocent, obviously. I mean, like my mom said, I told you, I was a good guy, but a bad boy, right? So, I mean, I wasn't innocent, but core values, like the core of who you are as a person, I was innocent, because I didn't see the things that you see at war. Those are things that I don't think humans are supposed to see, hence trauma and all that. But yeah, when I reference that, when I say that, because I do say that a lot, is when I lost my innocence. I know exactly the day I'm referencing, because I remember the day. It was 2004, right? 736, great team. We're all young, brand new. We had one guy on the team, Tim, that he's been to Afghanistan once. This is back when if somebody had a combat patch, people were like, "Oh shit!" Right? That was back then, right?
That was a big thing.
You saw a guy walking around in the group that had a combat patch. You're like, "Oh shit, that dude's been in some shit," right?
Right.
We had a couple guys that were coming back from Bagram that were up there exchanging money, doing that type of stuff. And then we had a full bird of equipment and food and all that stuff, right? Well, a 107 rocket landed literally on the tail, the
ramp.
The ramp literally landed on the ramp as these guys were getting off the bird.
In a 107, that's going to have a blast radius of what?
Too much at that point.
Absolutely.
I mean, talk about a money shot. I mean, you could not have placed it any better. So as we're getting to our little base, me and Jay, the side by side, the Land Rover, right? They're shuttling bodies in, right? I think we took like 9. I think there was like 9 mass casualty, and bring them to the med station. So we go running over there, and they're bringing dudes in and laying them out. They're doing what they do, right? Mass cas.
Now, how far is it from the crash site or from the site to y'all's? Because you said it wasn't too far outside the wire. So are you talking a couple hundred meters?
Yeah, I mean that couple hundred meters. You figure small fire base right outside the wire, so a couple hundred meters. But you got to drive around a little bit to get to the gate, right? It's a little bit of a snake kind of thing to get in, but not far at all. So I end up with this kid, one of the guys on Radio Watch, right? He's a young kid. He's like 19, chubby kid. His whole back is blown out, right? His back. His ass is gone. I mean, he's fucked up, dude. He's fucked up, and that's who I'm working on. Specialist Docchio. I did the ABCs before we deployed: airway, breathing, and circulation. That's what I have for medical training, right? At that point, no live tissue. I wasn't there for live tissue. I wasn't on the team yet. I got the team and went to Suffolk with a 2nd battalion team, and then we deployed.
So you only got to do the shoot, move, communicate portion of training before you before you met your team.
Yep. Well, I got to the team day one. They were like, boom, you're going with this team from 2nd Battalion so you can get some trigger time before you deploy.
So you weren't even working with the same guys that you were going to be deploying with?
Nope. Came back to the team, went on leave, and then we were gone, right? So I got this young man in front of me. And, I'm trying to sync my first instructions were to give this kid Hespan, right? Sync an IV and give the dude Hespan, right, to get his blood pressure up. Dude. The kid, he was chubby as it was. He's lost, who knows how much blood he's lost, right? He's lost probably a lot of blood, all of his blood. I mean, he's there. And I'm supposed to find a vein on this kid, right? So then they're saying, do a cut down. Right? I'm supposed to do a cut down on this dude.
So cut down, you're opening his skin to try to expose a vein so you can get a needle inside of it.
Yeah, which I don't think they teach that anymore. You're not supposed to do that, but back then they did, I guess. So that's what I'm doing. I never got to the cut down. I put the tourniquet on in order to do the cut down, and I never got to it. So I'm like, I'm trying to talk to this kid and trying to get him ready. I'm trying to sync that IV, and it's, I don't know, man. I don't know what to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to do. The bottom line is I don't know what to do. And it's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling when this dude, in my mind at that moment, I'm supposed to be saving this kid's life, and I don't know what to fucking do. And dude, he's like moaning, dude. I haven't thought about this in a long time, but I remember this kid moaning, like over and over. I remember at one point I was like, yo, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. I mean, this isn't like a 30-second thing. This is like, we're talking about half hour. You know what I mean? Like, this is a good extended period of time. I'm working on him. And I'm trying to talk to him, and I'm getting mad, which is so bad. I feel so guilty for that. Like, I'm getting mad at him, because he won't stop moaning. That's all he kept doing over and over again, moaning, And he's unconscious. And I don't know, man. The kid he died. The kid died. And it's like I'm sitting here. I don't even know what to do. Now what do I do? The kid's dead. And that's it, man. I was just sitting there with this kid, dude, for like 30 minutes, like just sitting with him. I just felt bad. I didn't want the kid to die alone. Like the kid was unconscious when I got him. He was unconscious when I got him, but. I don't know. I don't know if he could hear me or not,
Right.
So he's moaning and moaning. If that finally stopped, and that was it, man. It just came over, like, yeah, he's gone, And dude, it killed me, Ryan. It fucking killed me. It killed me that I felt like I could have saved him, if I knew what I was doing. Maybe if I paid attention in the ABCs or something. I don't know.
Right.
But I felt like that was my responsibility, and I couldn't do it. Maybe if I could have got that Hespan in him, we could have got his blood pressure up, right? I'm thinking all this stuff. Sure. Because I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't even know what fucking Hespan is. I just know it looked like an IV bag. So I'm just sitting with this kid, man. He passed. And a few people passed that day. And, once it was all over and we got all the bodies out and the medevacs came and the people that were injured, we got them all, everybody's gone, right? Dude, I was mentally, thinking about it, I was mentally and physically just drained, right? And, I went back to my room. I just by myself. I just went back to my little mud hut, and I broke down, dude. I was fucked up. I was just crying, man. And I'll never forget it. Ben came in. Ben's a good dude. So I know he must have knew I was fucked up, you know. And he came in and he was like sat down with me. He was like, "You all right, dude?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm all right, man." And he said a good thing to me, man. You know, he was like, "Listen," he's like, "I gave you that dude. I gave you that kid because he was gonna die." He's like, "There's nothing anybody could have done for him." He's like, "They could have dropped that kid off at what's the name of the hospital at Bragg? I can't remember.
Like Madigan Army or something?
Something like that. Womack.
Womack, there you go.
He's like, they could have dropped that kid off on the front steps of Womack and he would have passed. He's like, there's nothing you can do for him, man. He's like, so please, he's like, dude, let it go. And that helped. That helped me, right? That helped me a lot as far as like not taking it with me as much. But you know, I think it fucked me up. Well, I mean, it fucked me up because I was a 21, 22-year-old kid that never seen anybody die before, and never mind a U.S. soldier, right? That was my first experience with death, and it just happened that it was in my hands. But you know, I realized as the years went on and the deployments went on, I realized I had this like weird moral compass or some battlefield moral compass. I don't know why or where it comes from. You know, because war never bothered me. You know, after that, death never bothered me, except if it was somebody that, in my mind, I felt like they shouldn't, like women, children, right? That really fucks me up.
Sure.
That screwed me up. That would screw me up. But like a U.S. soldier, like that kid, in my mind, is not supposed to die. We're supposed to die because we're Green Berets. We signed up for this shit, right?
That's right.
That's how my logic works. You know, right or wrong or indifferent, that's how it is, right? That's the way that I'm built. So that kid dying from fucking Idaho, whatever, I don't even know where, Idaho or Iowa or something like that, national reservist, right? 19-year-old kid was probably just in there for college, to pay for college. He don't want to fight. He ain't coming to the front lines, right? He was like an IT kid, right? That kid ain't supposed to die, right? And I'm watching this kid pass in this fucked up country on a mud floor, you know, with his back blown out, moaning. That's not how that kid's supposed to go. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how he's supposed to go, man. So that's what fucked me up.
So that's what you mean when you say the loss of your innocence was that day.
That was it, man.
Seeing that.
That was it. And I can tell you, and let me tell you, you know, they had this ceremony for him and stuff there on the fire base. I couldn't even go to it. Like, I went and I had to leave, dude, because I was crying. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop for like a week. I could not stop crying, dude. I was fucked up. And then it just stopped. You know, it's something in me it stopped. And, you know, fast forward to 2007, you know, now we're in the Helmand province in Afghanistan. We're at Gresh, right?
So this is your second trip to Afghanistan,
trip, right?
Okay.
Same team. Now we're all a little bit senior, right? I think I'm a staff sergeant. at the time, right? All like Ben, Tim, like all the seniors on the team are now sergeant first classes, right? We're a little bit of a more mature team, probably the most mature team in the company, right?
Okay, so most teams you're generally going to have like 4 staff sergeants, right? Those are your juniors, those are E6s, and then the seniors, those are the guys that kind of overseeing the young guys, make sure they're learning while they're there on the team.
Yep.
To become seniors.
Yep.
Okay.
Which my team was on. We started young with no E7s, right? But now we have all E7s, seniors. Juniors are all E6s now, right? My senior, he became the Fox. So now I was a senior Bravo, and I had a junior Bravo, right? So, I mean, we're all kind of grown up a little bit.
Now, just curious, how, now that you've dealt with what you have and you've learned what you have from that first deployment and you've got a junior, has your junior been to combat yet? Or is he right out of the course?
Right out of the course.
So how are you prepping for this next trip to get him potentially ready to face what you had, what took your innocence.
I don't think I'm there as a leader yet.
Okay. Still new enough.
I'm still new enough where I can't even impart any knowledge on this kid.
You know what's going on, but you don't know really how to convey that message.
Yeah, I'm not, as a leader, I'm not there yet. Now, as a 18 Bravo and my job and my responsibilities on the team, yeah, absolutely. You know.
So you know where the ranges are at, and you know how to schedule them now.
Yeah,
right?
but I also know, like, you know, going over there, we got to prep, right? The type of oil that we use on the Mark 19, we're gonna have to scavenge and we're gonna have to hunt to find it. I can't remember what it was. It was that white shit. No, it's a little shit, you know. So that's where I'm at, as like a senior
guy.
I could teach him that, but I'm not imparting like any type of mental health stuff, because in my mind, I'm not even.
You're probably not even acknowledging that's going on.
That shit, I'm not even mindful of that being suppressed inside of me. I don't even know what PTSD is. At this point, we're all fine. So we go there, another spot, the Helmand province, which is probably at that time between Iraq, Afghanistan, arguably probably the most volatile place, right?
Definitely a lot of movies were made about that area.
It was tough. So when we went, there hasn't been an American in the Helmand for a couple years. The Brits took over, basically made a little deal with the Taliban. You stay in the green zone by the Helmand River. You don't come out of the green zone. We won't go into the green zone, and let's just live side by side in peace. That's what the Brits did, which you know as well as I do. That's the worst thing you could have done, right?
Right.
Because when we left the Helmand 2-3 years prior, you know, I remember Bobby was there, and they used to go lay by the river in their ranger panties, getting Green Beret tans, right? That's how secure it was.
Okay.
We did some research. We were supposed to go to Tarin Kowt and be co-located with the B team. We didn't want that.
So now they want to bring you guys in to be with the enablers from the company, with the support of the company. So now you're
work with them, but just be co-located out of the same place.
So now you got a bigger presence there. You got more support there. Why don't you want to be there with them?
Because that's just from the intel, from us doing, you know, IPB, right? Getting ready to go over there. That's just not where the action was.
Okay, so you studied up and
we learned that the Helmand is where it's at, right? And there's nobody there. Not one American in the Helmand. Minus some agencies, you know, are working down there. So we fly down, not the team. Team stays in Kandahar. Tim and I fly down, and Brits are all on board. Like, bring them down, mate. Absolutely, right? As long as the only deal with it was they had attached one of their guys to us to be a part of our team, so they can kind of make sure, keep tabs on us, right?
Okay.
No problem. We'll end up being a great dude. Great dude. He actually passed at the end of our trip. He got killed. But great dude. So we go down there, the Brits sign off on it. Team flies into I can't remember what base was right next to Goresh, but Bastion. Team flies into Bastion with our Humvees on the bird. Get out, they drive down, right? 24 hours later, we have local Afghan like militias standing inside of our base. We had like 30 of them. We call them the pirates. Had them raise their right hands. Do you swear to be good Afghan military? And blah, blah, blah. There's like, all right, handed them weapons. And that was our fighting force, right? We just found some warlord who could hire 30 guys, because you can't leave the base without Afghan presence.
Okay. So you just hired 30 basically local, were they militia at that point, or they were doing just day-to-day, were they fighters already?
I mean,
they were the fighting age.
There you go.
They were at the fighting age.
Yeah, I want to say they're fighters.
Sure.
They lived through many years of fighting, I'm sure. And they were loyal to I'm going to call him a warlord, right? But the local leader, they were loyal to him. So we hired them. So we're getting ready to go out on a 30-day op, right? We're going to roll out for 30 days. We're going to drive up to Fob Rob, which is like northern Helmand, where the Brits were at, and they were cut off. The Brits are cut off at this Fob Rob. They can't get any supplies in, right? They're in a bad situation. So we're getting ready to roll, and there's an agency there, right? A guy comes up to us and he's like, "You guys are going up to Fob Rob?" We're like, "Yeah." He's like, "You guys go up there, you ain't making it." We're like, "What?" He's like, "Dude, there's like, we're estimating thousands of Taliban in the Helmand River Valley." He's like, "You guys aren't gonna make it if you go up there. We're telling you right now." He's like, "When we go out with Spectre at night, hit, and we're out."
Okay, so just for the beautiful people at home that don't know what Spectre is, so you basically have an aircraft overhead that has the ability to put big rockets, guns. What are they bringing in with those?
They got
with
the
that
105
Spectre?
howitzers. They got the 40 Mike, I believe, the grenades. They got is it a 20 millimeter gun on there?
Okay, so back then they were definitely using that model, which absolutely you've got big guns coming in overhead, and they're not too high. They're staying nice and close.
They could see a mouse. You know what I mean? That's how good their sights are. I mean, there ain't nothing. I'll go out with. I don't even need to bring a weapon, right? Because I mean, they got you.
You feel that comfortable.
You feel that comfortable with them. I mean, it's and the enemy knows. They hear him. They hear him up there buzzing. You know, they know he's there at night. That whole trip, when the sun went down, there was nobody because they knew. They knew the Spectre was up there flying around. They could hear him. As soon as the sun comes up, game on, right? So, yeah, so they tell us that. And we're like, "Oh, yeah, all right, thanks, man." You know, Green Berets.
So thousands of fighters right along the river valley.
Yep.
That you guys have got to go through to get up to where the Brits are.
Well, the river runs north, right, to where Fob Rob is, north and south, running the Helmand River. So we were going to cross the bridge because we're on the west side of the river. We're going to cross the one bridge. To cross that river is right where we're at. So you can't cross it anywhere else. You have to cross it there. So we were going to cross it, and then we were going to skirt the green zone, basically stay like a click or so in the desert, just to avoid contact, avoid IDs on the main road, right? It's just typical TTPs, right? We're like, yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Sure.
We'll be good, right? These guys don't know what they're talking about.
It's a good mission.
Yeah, and they don't know what they're talking about. They only been here for like a year. They don't know what they're talking about. So we do. We SP, roll out 3 GMVs.
So how many guys do you have total?
9.
Yeah, 9 guys, and then your security force of
30s in pickup trucks. So we got like 3 pickup trucks and 3 GMVs.
Okay.
This is before the big, everybody got these big cars. So 3 GMVs with no doors and
no armor, just
rolling deep.
Okay.
Hard AF. Damn, I wish I had this company. We've been wearing these shirts all day. Hard AF. That's what we thought we were. So we leave. It's about a click maybe to the bridge. That's where Goresh is right there, right? You hit the main road. There's the bridge. Cross the bridge.
Half mile up, turn, cross the bridge.
Boom. Now we're rolling, right? We estimated that we'd be at Fob Rob, I believe, in 12 hours. Right?
What's the distance you got to cover?
To Fob Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Damn, man.
Because it wasn't extreme distance, right?
No, it's maybe, what would it be, like maybe 40 clicks?
Okay. So
I mean, it's a drive.
So 25 miles through very slow moving terrain.
Desert.
Right.
But not like real, not creeping. I mean, you could still move in the desert, right? You might come to some choke points where you got to kind of find a way across, but it's good moving when you're on the desert, right?
Okay.
So we crossed the bridge. We left at like dark 30, right? Cross the bridge. Immediately get ambushed. Immediately.
But you're across the bridge.
We're on the east side now.
Okay.
Nobody told us the east side is where it goes down. I'm just kidding. It didn't matter what side of the tracks you're on. So we get ambushed, right? Like this is like welcome to the Helmand. right? We get ambushed, and not a big one. It wasn't like a big one. It was just a couple compounds. Dudes are hitting us with some machine gun fire and stuff. But we kind of we're some distance. It's at night. We're blacked out, so they could hear us.
Right.
So they're shooting, but they can't really see us. But we're shooting back. So I mean, obviously they can see where we're shooting from. But it wasn't anything like we weren't in some critical danger. But we're fired up because it's our first firefight, right? We're pumped up. And Mark 19 went down, which that's my bad. I was on the Mark 19.
And you're responsible for it as well as the senior Bravo now.
Yeah, it didn't just go down. Like, I got through one can, like butter.
Okay,
right?
so what is that? 200. So you shot 200.
42 rounds.
Oh, I'm sorry, 42 rounds. So one can.
I believe 42, give or take.
Okay, and those are 40 millimeter grenades.
Yeah, right. Machine gun. And then I was like surgical with that thing. On target, right? Boom, boom, boom. I'm loving life.
So it basically, with the 40 millimeter grenade, it's going to kill what? About a 10-meter circle around whatever it hits?
Maybe 5-10 meter.
5-10 meter.
Depending on the trajectory and where it hits, right? I mean, we're shooting at a compound, so I'm not getting anybody. But I'm hitting the wall really good, right?
Okay, so you got shrapnel going. Yeah. A lot of loud stuff going on. And
they might have TBI.
Okay.
I might affect them 10 years down the road. I'll get them.
Sure.
Suckers.
They're gonna know Matt came through.
They're gonna know Matt Doc came through. So I go through my can, right? And I'm sure you've loaded a Mark 19 before.
Yes.
Loading a Mark 19 at night under nods is a skill. That's a skill. So boom, pop my feed tray, right? I sweep the
links and
the feed tray.
Okay.
Right? I sweep it to get the links out. And I could hear, ching, 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 ching. Like I swept the feed tray, but everything went.
So you threw the feed tray,
right? I don't know what. Maybe when I was firing it, something came loose.
Seared a pin off or something, so the guts basically broke.
I don't know what went, but something important just flew off the truck as we were driving. So we're moving the whole time as we're shooting, and I'm like, and I could hear, captains on the radio like, get the Mark 19 up. And I'm like, Mark 19's down, right? Get it up. I'm like, no, it's down. Mark 19 is fucking down. Mind you, we're embarking on a trip now. We have no Mark 19, just thinking tactically.
And that's one of your most casualty producing weapons or show of force weapons, I guess,
and you're not direct. It's not now you have a weapon that's not direct fire. You know what I mean by 50 cal direct fire. Boom, right? Straight. Mark 19, I can lob over obstacles. Like, you know what I mean? Your Mark 19, you can do a lot of stuff with if you have an imagination.
Kind of like throwing a football. You can get it over something.
Exactly. They're hiding behind walls and in vegetation. I could lob things over and put effective fire. It's almost like a mini close air sport.
Okay.
In a way, right? For a long distance. So Mark 19 is important. So we ran 3 GMVs. You had 50 on the front, 50 on the back truck, and Mark 19 was in the middle. Okay. That's how we ran it. So Mark 19's down. But anyway, so we decided we're going to assault. So we did. We assaulted, turned vehicles, and just fucking charged. And guys who are on that trip will attest that they used to, down the road, they used to call us kamikaze because we learned that whenever you take fire, just turn and drive as fast as you could towards the fire.
Okay.
That was the safest thing to do. Sounds weird, but it was. Because usually the firing was to give them time to create space, to dig up their caches, get shit ready. So we learned all their bullshit on the ICOMs, that they're getting this, they're getting that. It's all bullshit. It's just to keep us
to gaslight you and just keep you busy.
Yes.
With that. Okay. So now probably a good time to remind people that we're not doctors, nor are we counselors or anything like that. Like, when we tell you how we did things, we still recommend you follow your normal TTPs, whatever the team's doing. But that TTP, so you turned and went.
We would turn our vehicles and we would go straight to where it was coming from.
Whatever flank it's coming from, you're just going right in there and just crashing in.
We would go as far as we could with our vehicles, dismount and go. I'm getting off topic. So what we estimated to be like a 12-hour trip ended up being like 4 or 5 days just to get to Fab Rob. Right? We just kept getting anytime we come near the green zone, we would get hit, right? Nonstop. So we get there. I'm getting off topic, but we get there. Brits are cut off, right? So we fought. We ended up getting into like a 3-day firefight. No shit, 3 days. 3-day tick that never closed. Never closed the tick. Troops in contact. Another ODA had to come from a different province. They came, dropped off their JTAC because we didn't have a JTAC, kicked their JTAC out of the vehicle, dropped all their ammo because they were directly ordered not to come help us. Right? But they had other missions going on. I get it.
Okay,
You know,
so
they requested, because they were closest one. Remember, there's no other Americans in the Helmand province.
Right.
Just us. They requested, because nobody else is. You got SATCOM radio over there, right? You hear when teams get into troops and contacts.
Right.
So for that first week, there's nobody coming on SATCOM radio except for our team. Troops in contact, troops in contact, troops in contact. So everybody's like, what the fuck is 3-6 doing, right? So needless to say, a month later, there was a whole company moved to Fob Rob.
Okay.
Right, because they seen what was going on. But anyway, so we were up there by ourselves. They came, squared away team, shut their Blue Force trackers off. I don't think anybody's in the military anymore now. They're gone. Shut their Blue Force trackers off. Beat feet to us as fast as they could. Oh, you guys don't have a JTAC? Kicked the JTAC out. Was like, you're with them now. He was like, Roger that. He's cool. Good dude.
Was he Air Force guy?
Air Force.
Okay, so CCT then, right?
CCT. He jumped out, just became part of the team, man. Jumped in, just started, and it was life-saving because the whole battlefield changed when that kid showed up.
Well, they understand how to control all those aircraft, right? So they've got stacks of aircraft, and when they're able to, because that qualification allows them to control all of that, right? And
It's their job.
they own
That's
it.
the difference. We had a SOTAC guy.
Okay.
So we had a SOTAC guy that was controlling the air. I'm not talking shit, Nick. And he was doing a good job for what he can do.
Sure.
He's an 18 Echo first. He's a shooter first. Okay, so he's SOTAC qualified, which means he does a couple drops here and there to stay qualified, but that's it. That's why I always disagreed with getting guys SOTAC qualified. Because if you have a SOTAC qualified guy, they wouldn't give you a CCT.
Sure.
That goes back to the jack of all trades, master of none, right? So
it does.
You know, I want a guy that is his fucking job.
Absolutely.
That's all he does.
Control the air, make sure you're getting bombs on whatever targets that you need, and you can focus on fighting on the ground.
Right? Because we only have 9 guys. So now Nick, who should be a shooter with us, now he has to detach from the firefight and he's controlling air. Now we only have 8.
Right.
You know, so that's why that was my argument with the SOTAC thing. But that's a different story. So this dude shows up. Now Nick's controlling one at a time, right? Boom. Next one, right? Cleared hot. 10 minutes later, boom, right?
It's a slow burn with that. There's a lot going on.
But we have shit stacked up, dude.
Right. You've been in a firefight for 2 days. Everybody, every gunship, every airplane that has bombs on it wants to come support you, but they can't just come in and do it on their own.
They need somebody to come
take somebody.
Yes. This dude shows up, dude. It was like 4th of July. Shit is coming in from everywhere, dude. He took control of the battlefield because he had them all stacked up and just started doing his job, right? Because that is his job. Anyway, we get into Fob Rob. These guys are cut off, right? They're fucked. So they're like, what are you gonna do, right? We're pushing north, right? They couldn't grasp the concept of you guys are gonna push north. Like they couldn't grasp it. Like 9 of you are gonna push north. Well, yeah, dude. They were like, all right, like
You're getting further away from your security blanket if you had one.
We're going. These guys are getting attacked every night.
Yeah,
they're cut off. They can't get birds in. Like that's how close. You know,
they're right on the border.
The enemy has surrounded their base. They're saying it sometimes at night they're throwing grenades over the walls, right? So why are we going to stay there? So the only way you secure an area is you go out and do it. So we did. So it's actually, I mean, I know we're kind of talking about the story, but that's how we pushed north. Went through Sanguine. It was like a ghost town. It was the craziest thing. Buildings blown out. It was eerie, right? And we get to this little like high ground where you could see the valley. And we get a tip, right, that about 2,000 meters in front of us, where the road turns, there's these is really identifying trees. There's like 5 tall trees, the only ones in like that area. Like you can see these 5 tall trees. They're like, when you make that turn, they're sitting there in an ambush where those trees are, waiting for you guys. So we're like, oh shit, right? Okay. So we devised this plan where I'm gonna stay up there. I got the Mark 19 back up.
Okay.
We had some parts and stuff like that, so we were able to fix it. So the plan is this is leading up to the 3-day tick, right? This is how 3-day tick started. The plan was the guys were going to push up to that corner, right where that turn is, and kind of wait, right? I knew at max elevation that I can get rounds to about 1,800 to 2,000 meters. I knew at max elevation I could get it on target.
So you're kind of pointing the barrel something like
That's
this, and just
the barrels like that. I knew that.
you're just launching a football grenade. Basically.
Just launching, right? Just. So the plan was I'm gonna lay down that suppressive fire on the ambush site as these guys are gonna drive in and assault, right?
Sure.
So we start launching rounds. These guys breast that corner, and there's a dude right there waiting with an RPG. Pow!
Really hit him right
From like 5 meters away. Like literally was just on the corner of like a building, just turned and was like, whap!
just right there.
Literally, the driver of the GMV, the RPG hit dead on his face. But because it was so close in proximity, it didn't arm.
Oh my!
So it just left like this, mark, right, on the bulletproof window, right. So backed out, right, broke contact. I'm like laying, Mark 19 on. I'm just spraying, right. So they kind of break contact, and my rounds start hitting, and the tip that came in sounded like, dude, that was effective fire. These guys they're gone, right. So we go down there, we search, there's blood trails and stuff like that, find some caches, and that was it, right? So we now the road's littered with IEDs, so we go off path on the side, and then we get ambushed again from the green zone, and that's when it started, right? We're on one side of the road, they're on the other side of the road, and we just fought all day, slept all night. As soon as the sun came up, fought all day, right? That's what we did.
So as soon as nightfall would come, they would just go away.
They'd hear the
gunships coming in. They just go away.
That's it. Go away. So yeah, that's what we did for 3 days, man. Fought. That was the end of that trip. But we got off topic. The reason that I was talking about the 7 trip was right. Stole the innocence in 04. Later on in that trip, we had our battalion commander, Colonel Mahaney, good dude, very good dude. And looking back on it, great commander, right? This guy, before we deployed, he's New York, all about New York, from New York. His family is all fire department, all involved very heavily in the fire department. So obviously 9/11 was very, instrumental in his motivations, very passionate. It was pretty cool. Right before we got in the bus to leave, the whole battalion filed through the conference room or whatever room up there in the battalion, and they had a piece of the 9/11 of the trade towers in there, and we all filed through, touched it before we left. That was pretty motivational.
Absolutely,
it was emotional. I think that was pretty cool how he did that. Kind of like a remembrance of why we're going over there,
Yeah.
But that's how he was. But anyway, so down in Helmand, he put out some guidance that our only mission basically was disrupt. No intent, no end state. It was just basically go out and kill people. That was our mission. Go out and disrupt the enemy.
Yep.
That's all we were supposed to do. So at that time, we have Marsoc now with us. Marsoc came down about halfway through the trip. Great guys, dude.
So you got Marine Special Forces guys with you. You got Green Berets, and you've got. Have you gotten more of of a guard force yet? Because you
No,
still have
there's
this
no guard
30.
force.
Those guys are gone.
Oh no, those 30 guys after that first 30-day trip that we went out there,
Yeah.
I think we ended up like 6. At night we would lose like 4 or 5 of them. Their guns would be stacked up.
Okay,
Yeah, they couldn't handle that shit. The pirates, they stole every village we went through. We would look behind us. There'd be like 2 more trucks. Like, God damn, turn around, man. Pirates, put that shit back.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, so we got Marsoc with us now, right? So just so people understand, now we go from, in our minds, we're rolling around disrupting the enemy, fighting every day, black on ammo. Every single day, black on ammo.
So whatever you take out with you, you're using all that ammo.
All of it.
You're coming back.
Every time we do emergency resupply, they kick us out at birds, they drop pallets of ammo, we'd load back up, and the next morning we'd go back in. That was every day, right? Every day. So Mahaney puts out, you will have 24-hour presence, because we would go out for 3-4 days, come back for a day, refit, let guys decompress, drink a little Jack and Coke, right?
A little water, and get some good chow.
Yeah, decompress. Really,
Get the gym.
Get the guns back up, refit.
Sure.
So now we got Marsoc coming in, right? So fuck, man. Like,
that's a platoon too, right?
They come with their infantry as well. They come with a package, Sarge.
They do.
So they have, at least like 9 trucks of 19-year-old Marines, infantry.
That mean business.
That they don't think they can die.
Yeah, they
They want to fucking do shit, right? They're motivated. Then you have the operators who are they're all not Mars, like they're all Force Recon. Right. So these guys are squared the fuck away. But they just got a pot of money from the military because now they're special operations. These guys had Kimbers. They had PBS 15s, which back then only our driver had a PBS 15, maybe the gunner. That was it.
Yeah, we were still using old night vision where everything was green. You had just the single eye.
Yes.
Not a lot of depth perception in those.
Oh, these guys had everything. So they gave us all. They're like, here, we have extra ones, right? So they outfitted us with all kinds of stuff. They were good dudes.
Never worked with a bad Marsoc guy.
Good dudes. But that trip they were hamstrung. Because remember, they got kicked out of Bellenby. So allegedly, they did something bad there. They got kicked out of country. So Karzai lets these guys back in country. So what do? They send them down to us in the Helmand, or the most volatile place. Okay. Probably not the best thing to do. But whatever. So these guys, good dudes, but very, very, not because of them. Like, they wanted to get into the fight, but they couldn't because Hire was just controlling them. They couldn't move without reporting where they were moving, right? And in the Helmand, that was not good. That was not. In the Helmand, you had to move fast. There was no request truck 1 to move 100 meters to the west. Negative, dude. Like, you had to move, right?
You got to be ready to think for yourself, like on your feet, and
you don't ask for shit. You tell. Right. Like, that's how we were. Like, truck 3, we're doing this. We didn't ask anybody what we're doing. Like, this is what the call we made. We're going here. Right? It was more reporting of where we were going, what we were doing, maneuvering.
You're the ground force commander at that time. You got to make the decision. You can't wait for somebody to tell you.
So it sucks because we thought we were going to be rolling with like a big package. Ain't nobody fucking with us, right? Because you go from 3 vehicles to 15. Like, right? You're like,
that's huge.
But it would end up being 3 vehicles up front fighting, and these guys were in the rear watching.
Just mad.
Mad. Oh, they're mad, dude. They're mad. So anyway, so we got these guys with us, right? And Mahaney puts out this you will have 24-hour presence outside the wire at all times. To the point of, if one group came back and then the other group left, no, that's not 24 hours. They have to pass each other outside the wire.
Okay.
So we split it up. The captain's truck would go with half of Marsoc and their commander, right? They would go out for 3 days. When they come back in, the team sergeant would go out with their sergeant major or whoever's ready, the gunny, and the other half of Marsoc for 3 days. And then when they came in, my truck, me, Art, and Joe, we would go out with all the 11 Bravos. Not 11 Bravos, but you know what I mean.
The Marsoc infantry, or
O double 11 or O double, I don't know what it is. All the infantry. from Marsoc, right?
I'm gonna remember in a second.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Their MOS.
I do. It's gonna come. Go ahead. So you're out with all
My
their.
brother would kill me right now.
Yeah.
Corporal Bill Docchio, he would know that. He was a Marine. It don't matter.
Okay.
Infantry.
So they're infantry.
So we have, I don't know, 6 trucks filled with these young bucks, right? Ready to kill. And what had happened was, now you have Staff Sergeant Docchio, Staff Sergeant Art, and brand new Joe, right? He's an E5 right of course. We're in charge of the mission. Like, we are the ground force commanders, and we have a lieutenant and his infantry with us, right? Lieutenant was a great guy.
Just real quick, if you had to guess, what are the ages of the majority of the guys there with you?
Of the SF guys, or the
so the group, right? So you've got you as a staff sergeant, another staff sergeant with you, young E5, and that's your JTAC, I assume, or your CCT?
No, that's just a Junior Charlie.
Okay, so how old were you at that point?
At that point, 2007. So I don't know, 2007. What is that?
Okay, so maybe
15 years ago. So I'm what, 28, 27.
Okay.
Art's same age. He was the senior Charlie. Joe's probably like 23. He's SF baby, maybe 22.
Okay.
Right.
And then the infantry guys from the Marines, it's their basically their guard force, right?
Yep.
That's out there with you. So those guys,
18, 19.
right? Maybe a couple older guys that waited a little bit longer to come in, but they're all those young hard chargers. That.
And then you had the lieutenant. What's the lieutenant?
22,
23.
Yeah, 22, 23, something like that, coming out of school.
So what ended up taking place was a competition between the 3 groups who can kill more people.
Now,
right?
When you say that, you mean, so you're getting attacked the whole time you're out there, or are you staying active? Because you said a 24-hour presence outside the wire. So does that mean that you're going from place to place, or are you just going and basically having an outer perimeter security?
Oh no, you're going. Yeah, you're doing a mission.
You're doing 3 days of mission.
Yeah, so you pick. Obviously, we have level 3. You know, you're doing your intel stuff, right? Just driving operations. So, whatever intel was telling at the time, right? So you'd pick these places, and what you do, you drive out in the desert. You drive out in the middle of nowhere, because they're all in the green zone. That river, and then on both sides of the river is about 2 clicks to 3 or 4 clicks away from the river. It was all farmland, right? It's all green, and there's irrigation. The irrigation canals are 9 feet deep. These guys they QRF from miles away. You never see them because they're all in these tunnels. It's like Vietnam type stuff.
Yeah, it is like a trench system that they can move through, and they know them really well.
In every compound you go in, you find the underground tunnels that lead to the farm trenches. Right, it's a tough place to be in that green zone, dangerous place. So you would drive on the desert, get parallel with whatever area that you were going to go in, and then you would come in. Right. Right as the sun's coming up, we would be assaulting. That was always the plan. So, and what a difference between 04, Docchio, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way I handled death, right? The way that it affected me. So we're driving out in the desert, and boom, they hit an ID, right? Or not an ID, because they hit a landmine. They used to just put landmines out there. Anyway, they lose all the kids in the truck, right? Young kids. So the sun is just coming up, and looking back on it, that whole group, this is probably their first. This is their innocence getting taken, right? At that moment. If we're talking in that retrospect, right? These kids are 19, maybe 18. No, not 18, probably 19, 20, 21. First deployments, hard charge. Because up to that point, our numbers were beating MARSOC.
Yeah.
Like we were beating they were pumped. These kids were pumped. All they wanted to do was prove to these special forces guys that they can kill more bad guys than them, right?
Yeah.
That was their goal. Like every day, like, yo, we got to beat him, Sarge. Like to me, they're like, Sergeant Docchio, where are we going? Like, we got to get him, right? They're pumped, dude. Good kids. And that day, that was the reality that you can die. You know what I mean? Like you're not invincible. Like you think you're invincible when you're 20 years old.
Yeah.
A young Marine. And so these kids died, man. They lost the truck. They burned, man. It was bad. And I remember, so the lieutenant comes over and you could see now there's a separation. Right? You get that one truck of SF guys and then all of them, right? There's a line there.
Right.
Yeah, we're buddies, we've been fighting, but now they're over there and we're over here. And Lieutenant walks over and he was like, "Hey Doc, my guys are hurting. They're hurting right now. There's obviously the medevacs, right? They're all gone."
Sure.
And what a fucking asshole, dude. Like, what a fucking asshole I am. Like, no sympathy or, like, like, nothing, dude. Like, just nothing. I'm like, well, how much time you guys need, He's like, wow, no, man, these guys are... I think he was pimping me. He wanted me to say, abort mission, RTB. That's what he wanted. He wanted me to say, that's what he wanted me to say.
Right.
And to be honest with you, that's what I should have fucking said. I should have said, yeah, let's go head back to base.
What were you thinking at that time?
I think get in your fucking trucks and let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, man, sun's up, dude. We need to get there. Like, we're like, what the fuck, man?
We have a mission.
Like, that's where my mind was at. Like, I'm like, dude, let's fucking go. Like, because that's what I said to him. I'm like, LT, we got to fucking move. Right. Like, get these dudes in this fucking truck. He's like, they need a little time. I'm like, yo, you got like 10 minutes, man. 10 minutes to get these fuckers in the truck. Like, that's what I'm saying to this dude. Like, that's what I'm saying to this LT right now.
Right.
Like, come on, man. But, obviously at that point, you're not thinking anything like this. But looking back at it, hindsight, we're detached now, right? From our perspective at 43 years old, right? Looking back on it, like, what the fuck, man? Like, something must have been wrong. Not something wrong, but I think that's right there. That's a clear showing of trauma, right? Like, my emotions have been completely shut down in 2004, right? That what I went through. So from that moment on, I didn't feel emotions anymore. Like shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, I had no sympathy for these kids. I should have empathy for them. That's what I should have had for them. I should have been able to empathize with these kids, but I couldn't. I had no emotion at all. Like, it didn't affect me. Like, yeah, they died. Let's go.
Is it because that's just not the time?
I don't think I was capable of it.
You didn't have it in you at that time.
Because even I went to the memorial the next day, right? Which was uncomfortable because, obviously there was not next day. Whenever we came back, for a few days later, and you could tell there was some resentment, right, towards us. Probably because we continued on the mission. But no emotion, dude. I went in there. I paid my respects, more because I had to, But it was like, even when I walked out, I was like, well, to LT, like, hey, we got to start prepping because we're SPing in like 5 days. So we need to start coming up with a plan. And you know what I mean? Like, it was business.
Right.
So, it was, I don't know. I mean, what do you think? I mean, what is that? Like, that's cold.
So when we first started talking, you talked about your innocence being taken. How did anybody deal with you having your innocence taken? Was there any kind of, hey, we need to take a knee, Doc, let's go sit down, let's talk about this and give you a break? Or were you just basically, you learned right there when it happened to you that you got to continue mission, you got to continue, put those emotions to the side and get your men home, and then you deal with it. Is that the thought, or you just learned right then and there? Now you got to block it out. You can't have it. There's no place for it.
No, I just think at that point the monster was created.
Okay.
You know, because I mean that's what we are. You have to be a monster to do what you do. In a way, you have to be able to shut your shit down.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. I'm not saying that I did the wrong thing. I believe that my decision was right. Because it was a mission that we had to do. You know what I mean? Like, that's sad. I mean, I even say that now without feeling bad. You know, I would, to be honest with you, if the same thing happened tomorrow, I would do the same thing. I probably would have handled it different. I probably would have went over and talked to the guys. I probably would have done a lot more, been a better leader. You know what I mean? Talked about my 04 experience. You know what I mean? I would have done it way differently.
But you'd still make the same decision.
But it still makes the same decision. Because
Absolutely.
I do believe that they need to get back on the horse.
Yep.
Right? Going back is not going to do anything but make these kids dwell and right. So I believe the decision was correct, but it was just how I handled it. You know, I definitely would have. You know, those kids needed somebody to talk to, not a fucking lieutenant. You know what I mean? They needed somebody. They needed a senior. They needed a Green Beret to go over there and empathize with them,
Right.
and tell that story that I just told to them, and tell them, you know, I don't even know. I don't even know what I'd tell them, but I would just tell the story, just so they know that they're not the only ones feeling that way. Like, that shit's normal, but we have to continue on our mission, you know? But I think that just shows that, you know, when you get that innocence taken away from you, when you experience that trauma, whatever the trauma is, you know, those visceral feelings and emotions in your brain for your survival, right, get shut down. For SF guys, for us, it's tough because you look at 04, my shit gets shut down. Most soldiers, after that type of trauma, most soldiers in any branch outside of the special operations community, that's their trauma. And they never experience any more usually. Usually that's their trauma. Maybe no more real deployments, right? That's it. That's their thing that they are fucked for the rest of our lives. We don't even have time. I remember my therapist talking to me when I was in the hospital, like they never really seen this type of trauma before, because our trauma is so repetitive and so over and over again, right? Because it's just continue every day, missions and right, and you do it for such a long period of time that it's compounding. Like, it just keeps building on top of it, and it becomes norm. You know, it becomes, that's just what you are.
Right. It's almost like an injury would. That nagging injury, you kind of get numb to it after a while. And if you're asked about it and you pay attention to it, it's like, oh, yeah, that my knee does still hurt, but I've learned to live with it. And now it's just,
Maybe walk a little different. You compensate a little different, right? You make it happen.
you got that numb to do it.
Where maybe if they address that injury immediately, right? Addressed it immediately, took a little time and addressed it, it would heal. And you'd be 100% instead of working at 80%. Instead of ignoring it, and now because you're compensating, you're getting more injuries, and you just continuously are, you know, your body's going down.
Right.
And I think that's what happens on the mental health side, or used to. I think they're a little bit better at it now. But for us, I think that was a big issue, is they were never attended to. They were never addressed.
Well,
It was just kind of allowed to continue, but then another thing would happen and more things happen, and you just continue to get worse. But when everybody's getting worse, right? So when your baseline, I don't want to use the word crazy, but when if you say you're with 9 guys and you're with 9 guys all the time, like that's your
baseline.
family, right? If the mental health of all of you is the baseline and all of you are not good, but that's considered good, right? Because that's what
That's
everybody
the
is.
new norm.
You know, if that's how he is, then well, we must be fine,
Right.
You know, that's not good. That's a dangerous thing, and you could see that because after that trip, that was a trip I was telling you where you come back, we took leave, and a month leave, and then 2 weeks later I go into the team room, and everybody's there. And it was like a load lift, like a weight was taken off my shoulders. Like I was like, I'm like safe, right? You know what I mean? Like I'm in my comfort zone, right? I'm in my area that I'm safe. And then I don't know how long after, but we were supposed to go to Afghanistan back to back, right? We're supposed to go 08, we're supposed to go back. And the senior guys got pulled to go to SWIC. So we went up to the CSM's office with a list of guys in the battalion that did not want to go to Afghanistan. They wanted to go to SWIC to replace us so we can stay on the team. Denied. Like, how the fuck? That's good leadership right there.
Yeah, it is.
So we're going to send guys to Afghanistan that don't want to go. That's smart. But anyway, so going back to, you're in your comfort zone. You're coming back, right? You're obviously I have issues, right? Just from that story right there. Obviously, my ability to manage emotions, my ability to really show emotions is gone, right?
And you just came down on orders to go be an instructor.
Yep.
Right. So now you're going to go train other guys that want to be Green Berets.
Yep.
Coming through the course.
So I go to SEER school. So for the last 5 years, that's been my comfort zone, is that team, these 9 guys, these 8 other guys. Now I get pulled out after that deployment, right? A lot of loss, a lot of traumas, right? Like that story I told, I mean, that happened a few times, right? In different places. And I get pulled from there and I get put into SWIC, into SEER school as an instructor. So now I'm like in this like foreign place. Yeah, there's a couple of GBs there, but I don't know them. Right, there were a couple first group guys, third group guy, but they're not the guys that I went to combat with. Like, because at that point, the only people that I like trust, that I truly feel comfortable with, are these guys, right? Mm-hmm. And now I'm pulled out of it. So I'm injured, right? You're blown up that trip, and my spine's all screwed up. So now I'm as an instructor, alone, right? Now it brings into the fact that for the first time in my career, I'm home. Like home. Not for a couple months, like I'm home every day.
You're not deploying anymore.
Not deploying for 3 years. Like now it's time to learn, like, now I got this wife, right? I mean, who really, we don't even really know each other, right? So a lot of like stressors for a soldier at that time. Nobody's really addressed anything that happened the last few years, right, in combat. Yeah. Now, so all that stuff's kind of just starting to come to light, because now I have a moment to reflect, and now I could think about stuff, and you know what I mean. Now I'm starting to really, it started to hit me, and dude, I started to decline. Like, I started to go down, like, bad depression. Like, I wasn't doing good. Looking back on it, okay, it kind of goes with that analogy. Like, if you put a frog in boiling water, he's going to jump out. But you put him in cool water and just turn it on, he'll just stay in there and die. It was that slow, steady. That was a slow, steady decline in my mental health. And I think it took me probably about 2 years. 2 years of work, of being in there, separating from the wife. I was living in an RV at some RV park out in like Southern Pines, isolated, right? Self-medicating for my spine, which, I mean, I wasn't taking any of those pain meds anymore for my spine. I was taking them to get by, to get through life. You know what I mean? I didn't realize it at the time. At the time, I'm taking them for my pain, right? Right. My spine's screwed up. They say I need surgery. But really, what am I taking? I'm taking these pills because I can't handle my days. You know what I mean? And it was a slow and steady movement towards what you're trying to do here at Team Trek, avoid, right? I mean, there was only one way it was going to end, really, unless somebody stepped in or unless there was a miracle. Dude, I was done. I was I really was I was hopeless, you know, like hopeless. Like there was really no reason to go on. So I remember, and it was noticeable, but we're good bullshitters.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're good bullshitters. Like, I go in there and do my job. I could put the mask on, good enough to where guys knew I was fucked up, but I was hiding it enough to where it wasn't raising flags, And SEER course just ended, and there's a shrink there. I'm trying to remember how she knew me, but she was like a 7th group shrink, and I can't remember her name, but great. She did like my, when I went to like,
you had to go to sniper school?
Yeah, like that and the level 3, like all those courses, right? You have to do your psych evals, and she was always the one that did it. So, I mean, I knew her pretty good. She was the first battalion shrink for a while.
Okay.
And she was, for some reason, she was over in Swick now. So she was down there observing that class. And so after the course, flag comes up, and she was there. And she came up. She was like, "Hey, Sergeant Docchio, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, good. Just good, ma'am. How are you? And she was like, "No, really, like, like serious."
Yeah.
She's like, "No, really, like, how are you? Like, you look different."